Hi everyone, welcome to the muster drill. I'm Scott, and the nightmare of cruising from Norfolk continues. Hi everyone, welcome back. So, the nightmare of cruising from Norfolk continued for some long after they got off the ship. As I mentioned in my previous video, it took me over 2 hours to park my car, and it took me 4 hours once I got to the port building to actually get on the ship. Some people have mentioned that they got on the ship really quickly. So if you look at some of the comments and you look at other YouTubers' videos, you'll see that the delays getting on board were not just for the June 4th sailing. Many other sailings in May also had the same problems. But for some people, after they got through that entire mess and arrived at the Cedar Grove parking lot, the nightmare began all over again. And in my opinion, this was in many ways a lot worse than the difficulty that we all went through getting on and off the ship. So I'm going to be throwing some images up here of what some people discovered when they arrived at the parking lot, specifically arrived at their cars. As you can see, a whole bunch of cars were broken into, and in some cases completely undrivable. So, of course, the city and Carnival and everybody else advertises that this parking lot is secure, 24-hour roving security. Like, obviously, it doesn't have 24-hour roving security because the sheer number of cars that were broken into had to have taken a really long time. So there's no way that the security guards were making regular, continuous rounds. And then in addition to these images, I'm going to be throwing up a broadcast from a local news station investigation of what happened there. You'll see in their report that there is a security vehicle there that clearly has damage to the front and the fender that would be consistent with the damage to these parked cars. And I apologize in advance for the quality of the video. It's just the best video I could get. The quality is definitely good enough for you to be able to tell what's going on here and for you to see clearly that the security company does not want to take any responsibility for what happened. So here's the video.
Certainly not fun to find your cars broken into and vandalized after coming back from vacation. But that's just what happened to some people who parked at the Cedar Grove parking lot on Monticello Avenue. It's across downtown from the Half Moon Terminal, but it's the place passengers are told to park. 10 on your side's Andy Fox is in Norfolk with more on their frustrations, Andy.
Tom and Lena, it's not only about the vandalism that went down in this parking lot. The victims say it's the fact that no one from the city of Norfolk has contacted them. Hey! 10 on your side went looking for answers from Allied Universal Security Services. I'd like to know about the crash in this parking lot.
Sir, I cannot report that. You would have to speak to my manager. I don't have any information on that.
We wanted to find the top guy, Jose Vasquez, who is the account manager for Allied and oversees the Norfolk contract. We found him over this small hill, so we ran to get answers. I want to know what Allied's going to do about this. We wanted to ask him about this Allied security vehicle crashed in the front after a security guard apparently slammed it into at least 5 cars, including Melissa Davis's Mazda here on the right.
When we came back to the parking lot, there were several cars that were badly damaged.
Davis sent us other pictures of the damaged cars, but what's really upsetting her is she has not heard from Allied or the city of Norfolk.
The fact that there wasn't a representative from the city of Norfolk who runs that parking lot on site leaves me with a bitter taste in my mouth, and I'm reluctant to return to the city or to that cruise port specifically.
Windows were also broken in 5 cars.
It was a long ride home.
Catherine Smith had to drive home to the Richmond area with a bag over the window.
Well, I'm going to tell you, that was my first time ever being there, and I can't see myself returning. How this was handled, is disheartening.
Mayor Kenny Alexander told us he knows those vandalized need to be made whole, which brings us back to Jose Vasquez, who called police on us. Mr. Vasquez, I'd like to ask you some questions about the vehicle that may have crashed into other cars of people who were on the cruise. They had no comment from Allied. It appears as though the crash may have happened because the Allied worker hit the accelerator instead of the brake. Also, look for those portable cameras to be put up here, possibly just like the ones on Granby Street. More security patrols by police and also by the sheriff's office. In Norfolk, Andy Fox, 10 on your side.
Not the way you want to find your car when you get back from a cruise.
No.
And then if it wasn't bad enough that all of these cars were broken into and the security guard allegedly slammed the patrol vehicle into a bunch of parked cars, I'm going to throw up this post here that shows somebody that was on the sailing after mine, which would have been the June 10th sailing, and they returned from their sailing to discover that their truck was broken into. Look at how the security company supervisor just completely doesn't want anything to do with the entire situation, and clearly that entire situation and the news report didn't change anything because there were more cars broken into the following week. So I mean, that was just a horrible situation that was the cherry on the cake of what was clearly one of the worst cruises for many people, not just with the embarkation process, but just, the cruise in general. Bad weather and we missed a port, and the other one was just basically unenjoyable because of the weather. And then there was just a lot of stuff on board, lines and complaints about this and that and the food quality, and just... So that entire situation at the parking is just horrible, and I really hope in the end somebody steps up and offers to make these people whole again, because there are a lot of posts from people where they're spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to fix their cars. I hope those people are made whole. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was there's an awful lot of conversation in our Facebook group about onboard COVID cases. COVID is everywhere, and cruise ships are not going to be exempt. Now, Holland America and Princess recently announced that they are going to put the mask mandate back in place, at least for the summer. It's going to be mandatory to wear those masks while indoors unless you're eating or drinking. And it's possible that Royal Caribbean and Carnival and Norwegian will do that as well. We'll just have to wait and see. But any way you look at it, COVID is here. We're going to have to deal with it whether we're on a cruise ship or not. As far as having a continued conversation about it, I think it's a waste of time. If you're concerned about COVID, wear a mask. And if you're not, don't. And if the cruise lines implement it, then I guess we'll all have to do it. Like the airlines, I don't think pre-cruise testing is going to go away, because at the very least, it's a liability shield for the cruise lines. And I think that they like that. So I don't think that we're going to see an end of it, which is a real bummer, because I am so sick and tired of getting this test. But it is what it is. So we'll just have to continue. So I think that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you very much for tuning in. And if you like this video, don't forget to click that like button. And then don't forget to click the subscribe button. It won't cost you anything. You click it once and you're done, and it'll really help us out a lot. And then don't forget to click that notification bell so that you know every time we upload a new video. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.